So stay with me. Stay tuned for Millennial. I'm going to put my hands down. Millennial in Debt Loan Talk. Let us get started. So I was going to do a Insta story, and I started those Insta stories. I really did, and I didn't even get distracted. What had happened was it was way too long, and it was too many questions for me to answer on Insta stories. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a YouTube video answering all of your questions and adding any information that no one asked for, but I think would be really vain, that I think would be really helpful. So I am pulling up my iPad and I'm pulling up the post. So the post I posted, and I'll post it right here. I'll post it right here. The post that I posted, what it said or what it had was my loan repayment life. So whatever. And I told you guys to leave me any questions you might have below. So I'm going to go through as many or pretty much all of the questions and answer them for you and give you more detail on subsidized, unsubsidized, interest rates, federal, private, all that good stuff. So stay with me. Okay, so the first set of questions. Okay. I want to go back to school, but I don't want to add to my debt. So that's a very hard question. Any questions that I don't have the answers to or I couldn't find in Google for you, I'm pretty much just going to tell you I don't know, because I never, ever want to give the wrong information, especially when it comes to people's finances, because that is a big no. So as far as going back to school without adding to your debt, the best advice I can give when it comes to that is pretty much either going to a state or a city school in your state. I'm going to speak for New York. For our CUNY and SUNY schools, they are much cheaper than a private institution, obviously. So that is what many people do in order to avoid debt, because they essentially pay out of pocket. So that's one way you can go to not add to your student debt. The other way is to really look for scholarships. I know it's easier said than done, but there are tons of scholarships out there that you can apply for to help pay for your to pay for your tuition, or for grants. When you are applying for your FAFSA, it's in your best interest for you to file independent. Especially if you're under 25, you want to try, I don't know, different schools have different rules, but you want to try to file independent, because that is how you get more aid. But FAFSA does provide federal loans, so that is something you really want to pay attention to if you are going back to school and already have student debt. That when FAFSA gives you your package, you see whether they're giving you tons of loans or they're giving you grants and like TAP and things like that. So that's it. I don't know if that's helpful. Um, congratulations. Thank you, peoples. Um, let's see. Did you use the snowball method to pay them? I don't know what the snowball method is, but by the time this video is done, I will know. And if I did use it, I guess, then I did. But I didn't intentionally use it since I don't know what it is. But once I edit, I'll put what it is down here and you'll know if I used it or not. But for right now, I'm going to say no, I didn't use it, because I don't even know what it is. So, sorry. Can you send me what you did? Yes, I'm about to tell you right now what I did. Okay. I'm in the same bill over 150K and have been feeling like I'm going to be paying them off until I die, but you have given me some hope. Thank you. I'm glad I helped. That wasn't a question, but I'm glad I helped. Is it smart to try to pay your loans down while you're still in school? Hell yes. Hell yes. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I was telling him how I made fun of a girl, because I'm dumb, how I made fun of a girl when we were both in college. She was a few years older than me. A few years, like she was a senior, I was a freshman, I think. And she was paying off the interest of her loans while she was in her schooling, because she had unsubsidized loans. So subsidized versus unsubsidized. I'm going to put that right here for you. Subsidized loans, the government pays the interest for you while you are in school. So when you take out the loan, the interest is accruing, and the government handles that for you so that when you graduate, the amount that you borrowed is still the amount that is there. Like when you graduate in May, you'll see I borrowed 7,000, I owe 7,000. That is for subsidized loans. Unsubsidized loans, which is usually what you get, are loans that bill their interest while you're in school. So if you borrowed $10,000 when you get out of school, there's a good possibility you can see an $11, $12, $13,000 balance depending on the interest that is on that particular loan. Especially if it is a private unsubsidized loan, they can charge you 14, 15, 16%, which is what happened to me. So if you can make payments while you are in school, do so, because you'll be thankful. Do so. Okay. I can't make regular lump sum payments, but I can do the income driven. I got kicked out of the income driven plan because apparently I made too much money. I'm a teacher, y'all. I don't make no money. Bruh. Okay. Houseway, teach me please, because I'm probably the same, if not more, between undergrad and grad. I am going to teach you. I just want to answer all the questions like specific, and then I'm going to tell you what I did to pay off my loans. How? Okay. How? Okay. How? How did you get them down? How did you do it? What strategy did you use? Where did you start? How can I do loan forgiveness? Okay, so I did mention in the post that in 2020 I will be getting all my federal loans forgiven. That is because I have worked for the Department of Education in New York City. So when you are a city worker and you work for 10 years and you make 120 payments, so pretty much 10 years of payments on your federal loans, if you have a balance remaining, they will forgive that balance. So whatever balance I have left over by the time 2020 comes, that will be forgiven. If you work for the city in pretty much any state, they do have different loan forgiveness programs. You want to check with your loan company to see what forgiveness options they have, because a lot of times if you are a public servant, they will hook you up after a certain amount, out of X amount of payments. So that is how I'm getting loan forgiveness. And how do I determine private versus federal? Really good question. Okay, so the difference between federal and private loans, and how can you tell the difference? So get a pen and paper, and again, this is why I leave that space open. Okay, federal loans are loans that are provided from the school that you are attending, and they essentially come from the government. You get federal loans when you apply through FAFSA. And FAFSA determines, okay, we're going to give you X amount of Pell or TAP or whatever we're going to give you to keep. That's money you don't have to pay back. And then we're going to go to Uncle Sam and ask him to give you X amount of dollars. You are going to agree to pay back X amount of dollars with a fairly decent, not too OD, but still kind of OD interest rate. And it's usually around the 5 to 7% mark. Federal loans are controlled by the government and are usually, there's more programs that will allow for forgiveness, deferment, things like that. If you file bankruptcy, all that good stuff, right? To ruin your credit. But you can pretty much save your sanity if worse comes to worse with a federal loan. A private loan. When people are complaining about Sallie Mae and Navient and depressed by all the phone calls and everything, that is usually because they have private loans. Private loans are loans that you take. You go to a company, you go to a bank, you sign up, you take that loan, and you get a check and you pay your school. That is a private loan that you have entered into an agreement with a company to pay them back. They are not controlled by the government in the sense where if you take that loan out, and that loan is, let's say, 9% when you signed the papers, they can raise their interest rate to just about pretty much anything that they want, and you have to pay it. And even if you file for bankruptcy, that loan has to be paid. There are no government programs to get rid of private loans. There are no government programs to assist with private loans. So essentially, whatever you take out, you can expect to pay back some way, somehow, in an extremely long amount of time. They add so much interest to your private loans. It is ridiculous. So how you can tell the difference is if you go into your account, you will see. So for example, I'll put the post back up that I posted. For example, you'll see. I'll tell you what you can see because I'm forgetting myself. Okay, on my private loans, it says signature student. So signature student loans are loans that I, the student, took out. Parent plus loans are also private loans. They're pretty much loans that are under your parent's name, but it's still a loan that you took out to pay whatever balance you had left over after grants and federal loans covered whatever portion they covered. Now, the federal loans will usually say Stafford unsubsidized, Perkins, I think is one, or Stafford subsidized, direct FEPP. Though, like all these weird letters. But the private loans will say, like I said, signature student or parent plus loan. Those are private loans. Private loans are the freaking worst thing ever. There's no other way around it. They're terrible. So that is how you pretty much tell the difference between a private and a federal loan. Let's go to the next question. How did you make the plan to start paying down your debt more? What changes did you make? Did you have other debt? Did you work with a financial professional? Did you also have money to put in savings or just focused on loan debt? These are all bomb-ass questions, so I'm going to answer them pretty much in order. Okay, so I want to make sure I didn't lose my place. Okay, did I have other debt? So I did not have any credit card debt, thank God, because I pretty much just hate credit cards. I did have a car payment. So I had two car payments in the length of time that I was paying my student loans. I had one from 2009 to 2012, in which I accelerated my payments and finished paying it off 2 years early. And then I got into an accident and had to get a new car, in which I paid from 2013 to 2015 and paid that loan back 3 years early. So I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. I pay off debt as quickly as I possibly can because I hate debt and I hate monthly payments. Did I work with a financial professional? Nope. I'm the hood finance talker person, I guess, right? I'm the hood financial advisor. There you go. I am the hood financial advisor. So I advise myself. Did you also have money to put in savings or just focus on loan debt? That's a bomb ass question. I did have money to put in my savings and I did focus on debt at the same time. So I never was like strapped for cash in the sense that I didn't have an emergency fund. And okay, so I have answered every single question except for the how. So here's the how. Okay, bear with me. So in 2014, I was kicked out of the income-based payment plan because I made too much money and I would be moved into a regular payment. And that payment was astronomical, and as a teacher, I couldn't afford it. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to have to go back onto the adjusted interest only payment because like I just can't. But I knew that if I stayed on this interest only payment plan, I would essentially be paying back these loans for the next 30 to 35 years of my life. I'd be 60 years old before I finished paying off my loans, which was just ridiculous. So I saved $1,000 a month. And at the end of the year, I would have $12,000 in my savings account that I would use to pay for student loans. I would pay off one loan, and I would pay off the loans in order of interest and not the order of the balance. Because I had a loan that was, I think, $13,000 and a loan that was $9,000, and the $9,000 loan I was making a higher monthly payment because it had a 14% interest rate versus the $13,000 loan, which had a lower interest rate with a lower monthly payment. So I went about it interest rate payments first because I didn't want to give them any more money. Besides that, essentially, and I've written like a ton of posts about this on charlesandtrusts.com, and I've linked them all below, and you can feel free to get lost in that because it's pretty much my whole loan life. But What did I change or cut out of my life? I became extremely cheap. My friends say it was just frugal or fiscally responsible. I stopped eating out essentially, and I food shopped. I stopped going to the movies, really, pretty much. I stopped getting my nails done. Like, that was just a dub. That was not going to happen. What else did I do? I cut off cable. I cut my Netflix. I stopped getting waxes, although I did get laser hair removal, so I guess that was like a give and take, but I no longer was getting monthly waxes. I still went on vacations. So when you decide to pay back your student loans and do an aggressive payment like that, you're going to feel extremely depressed. You're going to cry. You're going to be sad. You're going to miss out on a lot of things. I stopped going to parties. Like, I stopped drinking socially. I didn't go to clubs. I didn't go to bars. Um, yeah, I stopped doing everything that was essentially fun. I had no gym membership. I would run outside. That was my gym. Um, but I did continue to go on vacations. I would take 2 to 3 small vacations in the year, and then one, I guess you would call a large uh, vacation, because that was my sanity for the year. That was one thing I saved for. I used my credit card points for, just because like I didn't want to give that up, because I had given up everything else. So it just was like I would have gone crazy. The one thing I will say is that I did not have to pay rent because I lived at home with my parents. I did kick in with other like electricity, heat, like other like smaller payments for the house, but I didn't have a really large like $1,000 to $2,000 rent payment per month. So that definitely helped me. Someone asked, was I able to save and pay student loans? So I got back this like really big refund check one year for my taxes. That was like this junior or senior year of college, and then I got a check when I got into a car accident. And then I had received some other lump sum of money. I forget for what. And I threw them all into my savings account. So I didn't use them. I bought a cheaper car than using the entire check that they sent me. So I was able to have a nice little cushion in my savings account from jump before I started adding in $12,000 a year for my loans. When I got a little more money at my job, when I got more raises and my salary was increased, I was able to go from saving $12,000 a year to $17,000 a year, and still, because I didn't have a $17,000 loan, thank the gods. So I would save $17,000 a year, and I started that in 2006, and I would still pay $10,000 to $12,000 loan payments at the end of the year. So I was able to carry over $5,000 or $6,000 into next year's like saving plan. Is what I do, like a yearly saving plan. Yeah. So besides that large amount of money, besides the 17,000, I would take $40 per check. So I would save about $80 a month to go towards my vacation fund. So I would have about $1,000 for vacation, whether it was for spending money, flights, hotels, things like that. And once that $1,000 was up, that was pretty much like, okay, well, I'm not traveling anymore, so because my travel fund is done. I put aside some money for my car, because if you have a car and you have car trouble, you know you're going to have to pay to fix it. And I put aside some money for my dog in case like anything ever happened to her. And I would put those into different bank accounts. So a lot of the bank accounts I wouldn't even use and I would forget about. Like I have a Capital One savings. I have a NFQ savings, which is a credit union, which funded my car, which is why I was able to pay it back so quickly, because I only had a 1.5%, 1.8% interest rate on my car payments, and I have extremely good credit. So I was able to get that settled. So every year that happened after 2014, I was able to save a lot more, and I had less to pay on my loans. And then once I would pay off a loan, this is the part that's like you need to do. Once I would pay off my loan, the monthly payment that I would now have as excess cash, I would use it and add to my payments monthly, so that the principal would be paid throughout the year, and then I would pay the large payment at the end. So I wouldn't just take that extra $100, extra $200 and like spend or whatever. I would put it back into payments of bills. Another thing I stopped doing was shopping. I would look at my receipts and like see like McDonald's, Burger King, all that stuff, which I don't even eat anymore, and see like Forever 21, like over and over and over again, like buying. So I do a lot of no spend weeks. Like I'll put myself like I don't spend during the week, and if I spend on the weekend, it has to be like absolutely crucial. Um, yeah, so like I won't spend or yeah, pretty that's pretty much it. So that's how I did it. It wasn't really anything major. I just focused my savings on paying off large amounts of the principal. And once I started making more money, I was able to save more and didn't have to pay as much. So those are really the two major things when it comes to paying off your loans is saving and making more money, because people will say, well, save money, cut corners here, but at the end of the day, if you're not making money or making more money, no matter how much you save, you're never going to be able to save enough to make these payments. So I have a post I'm going to link somewhere in this or like whatever. It's pretty much 8 side hustles you can do to make more money, and different like banks you can sign up for savings accounts or CDs to get extra interest, in which at the end of the year you can use the interest. And it'll be what, extra $60 maybe. Take that interest, throw it into a loan payment. I don't take any of my excess money and play around with it. It's always invested into my student loans, and once it's done, I can invest in myself and like a place to live without my parents. But yeah, that's pretty much all I did, and I hope this video was extremely helpful for you, because paying back student loans freaking sucks. And it's no easy feat. So I really thank you all so much for your congratulations, because it means a lot to me. And like my millennial in debt family, you guys know, like it's a struggle and it is not fucking easy, and no one's like helping really. So if this was like any help to you at all, you're welcome. And thank you. And you can watch our Millennial in Debt series linked here or here. I don't know where YouTube annotates these things, but thank you so much for watching, and until the next one. Bye.